Proverbs chapter 15, verse 22 is where we are parking it today. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. There's a couple things I want you to see in this proverb, of course, with applicabilities to take with us as we move forward in our day. Number one of the bigger pictures that we see in this text is that man is not designed to do life alone. Hopefully, this is a refresher and a reminder of what you would think about in the book of Genesis, first three chapters, specifically Genesis chapter 2, when God creates Adam and everything is good except Adam being alone. And first, we see God allow Adam to name the animals, but it wasn't something that was able to connect with Adam, relate to Adam. And so God says it is not good, right, for man to be alone. And he then creates Eve, who becomes Adam's wife. And of course, we can see in that context that, yes, we can point it directly to marriage. It's a beautiful thing. And ultimately, it just isn't good for man to be alone. This is in some way, shape, or form reiterated throughout the scriptures. We go even to the book of Ecclesiastes that tells us that two is better than one, for when one falls, the other picks him back up. And so although there's a context to marriage in Genesis, there's a context of that to friendship, there's a context to that in counsel, the fact that man is simply not to do life alone. And I think Proverbs 15:22 just reiterates that important fact for us. But outside of that, I also want to share with you, when it comes to doing this life in the most optimal way, that the many advisors that we are ultimately surrounded by is that of the scriptures. Really diving into the text, into the biblical narrative, and really applying that into our lives. For we have 66 books, love letters written to us over the course of 1400 years between 40 different authors, in which tells one cohesive story of God, of Jesus Christ, his love for his people, and the redemptive story that we are all included in. And we now have availability for relationship with the same God this Bible talks about, with Jesus of Nazareth, who is the Christ. And so we have so many advisors, so much wisdom that we can get, so much counsel that we can get from simply coming to the scriptures and making that a part of our lives and applying that day to day. Cool. We get that. Now I want to take this even deeper with you guys. And that's just the simple fact that when it comes to building relationships, as you're single, as you're navigating relationships and making connections with others, and perhaps even stepping into a space of dating and making a commitment long term to somebody in your life, I want you to keep in mind that you need people to include in this process with you. Okay. It is so important to go to wise counsel, whether that's friends of the same thinking, of the same foundation and belief system, people that you can depend on and count on to give you the truth, tell you the truth, how it is needed to be shared. Whether you can depend on counseling such as mentorship and discipleship groups, your church community, people that you truly trust, even your parents. There's phenomenal biblical precedents of including your parents into potentially what or who you're considering to commit to and pursue, and getting their thoughts on those things. But overall, you need a counsel that you can go to and depend on as you engage in that process, and be willing to listen in and take heed to what is being shared. Because as much as we can get caught up in the romance, in the connection, and how dope things are, we want to be able to really give our ear to the counsel, because they can see some things that perhaps we can't. They can see some blind spots. They can see some different things that we might want to give some consideration to prior to really going all in with this person and really taking things to the next level, and obviously in the pursuit of marriage. And ultimately, it is up to you to make the decision to include them in it. And I think the best safety net that you'll ever have is having that counsel around you with the relationships you create, whether they're romantic, even platonic, and trying to figure out how you want to navigate and proceed certain connections and relationships that you have with people, who you want to include into your inner circles, who you want to include in certain aspects of your life. What kind of access does this person have to you? How do you want to decide that? We want to definitely, of course, come to the scriptures to help us navigate through that. And we want to also include people in our lives that are near and dear to us, who we respect, who we honor, who we look up to, who we think has serious value to give to the space, and of course can ultimately help us to get to where we need to be as we're considering certain options and perspectives. Include other people in it, because the people who you're surrounded by, who you love and whom love you, don't want to see you hurt. And they are going to be sure that everything seems to be in order as it needs to be prior to just sending you into certain relationships and connections with people that maybe isn't the best fit, like maybe you initially thought it was, knowing they have your back and have your best interest in mind. So move in humility, take all those things into consideration as you connect and move along with people. Your boy appreciates you oh so much for checking out this devotional. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, like this video, and share with a friend who could benefit from hearing a daily devotional today, as we are all in the business of creating healthy, happy, whole, and biblical relationships. I appreciate you guys oh so much. And until next conversation, be easy and be breezy, my friend. Peace.